Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. So, the ongoing debates and questions continue regarding the Activision Blizzard Microsoft acquisition on whether or not it will actually make it through regulations. Well, at least according to one analyst, not only does he believe Microsoft will complete the deal, but he also believes that it could be finished up as early as this year. This is actually something that we keep hearing, and yes, this would be a major win for Xbox if this truly does happen. So we're going to dive into that topic a little later on today. Also, for the FGC, you all had a pretty fun weekend participating or watching the biggest fighting game event of the year, EVO. First thing, big congrats to all of the winners there, but also the FGC won as a whole, as there were some pretty cool game announcements here, so we're going to go over some of that as well. Before we get started though, I just want to go and remind you all, in case you haven't already hit that bell notification subscribe button below, might want to go ahead and do that. That way you can stay up to date with all of the latest gaming news. Also, go and hit that like button while you're at it. It does greatly help out the channel, and I do very much appreciate it. Really, I appreciate each and every one of you all for that matter. Let's go and get into the video though, starting off with an upcoming Nintendo Direct. Now hold on, I know what you are kind of thinking here, but unfortunately, this is still not that big full-feature Direct that everybody's seemingly waiting for. But for you fans out there looking forward to the upcoming Splatoon 3 that is set to release next month, well, Nintendo did just announce a Splatoon 3 Direct that'll take place on August 10th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So again, if you're located in the West Coast, you'll have to wake up pretty early at 6 a.m. if you do want to watch this right away. But really, I'd say just kind of wait and watch it whenever you wake up. Nonetheless, though, it will be a 30-minute Direct, so we're talking about a deep dive into Splatoon 3. With 30 minutes, I mean, they can go over a lot of different things here. I would expect them to talk about its different game modes, which is probably what I'm personally most interested in. I would very much like to see its single-player campaign and how exactly that will work. Also, they could show things like its new mechanics and features, maybe some new weapons and things like that. Again, 30 minutes is a very lengthy overview, but this does seem to be something that Nintendo's leaning towards right now. They did this last month with Bayonetta 3, they did a good job with that, and then the month prior, they did have that Xenoblade 3 Direct as well. So even though Nintendo hasn't really put together that general Direct that fans have been hoping for, they are still giving some very meaty updates for some of their upcoming games. And that is a nice thing to see. I mean, with a lot of companies out there, they don't really put the time into showing much in the way of gameplay before their release. But here with Nintendo, they put a lot of effort into showing fans on exactly what they're purchasing. Now, I would actually like to see more game companies do something like that, but either way, go ahead and mark your calendars for August 10th for when you can see Splatoon 3. Next up, September could actually potentially be a very busy month in terms of game events. The Tokyo Game Show is set for September. Then you also have that PlayStation event that is currently rumored, though we'll kind of see about that one. But now we do also have a Call of Duty event planned for September 15th, where they're looking to give fans updates on the future of the franchise. This includes a full multiplayer reveal for the upcoming Modern Warfare 2, the future of Warzone, and then also an update for the Warzone mobile experience. So, I mean, if you do like Call of Duty, and especially if you're looking forward to the upcoming Modern Warfare 2 that releases on October 28th, this actually sounds like a pretty decent event overall. That there's kind of the thing though, because if you do want to play Modern Warfare 2 just a little early, they do often have those betas, and well, this year's no different. They did also announce an open beta that you can jump into this September. I'll go ahead and put the dates on screen here if you are indeed interested. Though, as you might have noticed, Sony strikes again. We all know by this point that Sony has some type of marketing deal for Call of Duty, and obviously that continues on with Modern Warfare 2. So fans playing on PlayStation will have, I guess, extra early access, I suppose, whereas fans playing on Xbox and PC will have to wait a little bit longer. This was to be expected, of course, though still unfortunate for fans not on PlayStation. When it comes to these multi-platform franchises and just having extra DLC and type stuff like that, I've never really been a fan of that type of stuff, regardless of what platform does it, but this is something that Sony and Activision have been doing for quite a while when it comes to Call of Duty, so it's not necessarily overly surprising per se. Still, it's times like this where I really don't feel all that sorry for Sony that Microsoft is trying to acquire Activision Blizzard. That means that after their marketing contract expires, which is rumored to be 2025, well, after that, you can kind of say goodbye to this early DLC and beta access type of stuff, and that will be very welcome for the community as a whole. Even then though, if you are looking to play Modern Warfare 2 early, go ahead and note when each platform will have early access. Speaking of Activision Blizzard though, let's go and talk about that Microsoft acquisition once again. The thing is that when Microsoft first announced this buyout earlier this year, they noted that they expected to be finalized by June of 2023. In fact, they've made it very clear that this will be a long process, which, I mean, that does make sense considering this is one of the biggest buyouts ever. Not just for the game industry either, but just flat out, period. So, without a doubt, there's a lot of moving parts here, and they have to get it through regulations and all that good stuff. But there does seem to be this shift in belief that Microsoft could potentially complete this deal sooner than expected, and maybe even as early as this year. Now, there's no guarantee on any of this, so don't take this as a 100% confirmation or anything like that. But at least according to one analyst, he predicts that this could actually happen. This is coming from the well-known Michael Pachter in an interview with Yahoo, where he talked a lot about this specific topic. Now, I know Michael Pachter has made some outlandish predictions in the past, and some will definitely point that out, but he does make some interesting points here about how the FTC has to approach this situation. Obviously, the FTC is kind of that big hurdle that Microsoft has to get over. This has been well documented by this point, but according to Michael Pachter, he believes that the FTC has no grounds to block this buyout. He even goes so far as to say that he is completely confident that the FTC has no legal basis to challenge this acquisition. However, Michael Pachter did mention something the FTC could do, and he actually also mentions a specific deadline, so let's just go take a look at what he had to say. He says what the FTC will likely do and should do is seek an agreement with Microsoft and enter into a consent decree, not block the merger, not sue to block the merger. And the consent decree will say, we're not going to raise game prices or the cost of the console, and we're absolutely going to continue to support PlayStation with Activision games. If they get that, this deal sells through. So watch October because that's 9 months after the deal. That's kind of when the FTC has to fish or cut bait. And if they don't sue by the end of October, watch Microsoft announce that they're going to close the deal by year end. And then we'll see what the FTC does. But I think this deal closes, and I think it closes no later than January 15th. So there you have it, and this is quite interesting, I'd say for a few different reasons. Yes, he does suggest that Xbox might have to sacrifice exclusivity, which, I mean, Microsoft has already indicated that will be the case with at least Call of Duty. I know some people think that they're being a little coy with that, but, I mean, I've been saying it for a while, despite exclusivity, the real winner here will be Xbox Game Pass, and I fully believe that's what this acquisition is truly about. Microsoft wants to grow Game Pass, and by owning IP like Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Diablo, etc., that means that these games will come over to Xbox Game Pass, and furthermore, all future titles will release directly into the service day one. The impact of that alone, despite any type of exclusivity, cannot be understated. That's one of the reasons that Sony last week was complaining to a Brazilian regulator. They very specifically mentioned just how dominant Xbox Game Pass currently is, and how an acquisition like this could influence platform choice. And even though it was a bad look for Sony, they are right, at least in that assumption. I mean, this right here is why Sony locked down Call of Duty marketing rights for PlayStation after all. People might not necessarily realize just how important those marketing rights are, but because of how popular the Call of Duty IP is, with something as simple as time DLC or extra early access is enough to influence platform choice. A lot of people will flock to PlayStation simply to get those benefits with the Call of Duty franchise. So with that, can you imagine how much of an impact it will be for Call of Duty, one of the industry's most popular franchises, to launch directly in the Game Pass day one, where fans can get access for just $10 a month? Yeah, Microsoft will be plastering that absolutely everywhere, and Game Pass will exponentially grow for that exact reason. So I think that that's kind of what Microsoft is looking at with an acquisition like this, and why they pretty much immediately suggested to regulators that they'll continue to support PlayStation with Call of Duty. Now, I don't know what they're planning to do with all their other franchises or new IP. I guess we'll just have to kind of wait and see about all of that. But either way, at least according to Michael Pachter here, October is the month to pay attention to, and if they do somehow get this deal done by this year, Xbox Game Pass will get an immediate boost of just a ton of beloved games, similar to what we saw them do with Bethesda. As soon as that acquisition was completed, they just got a ton of Bethesda games, and we'll see something similar to that with games like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and all those games coming over to Game Pass. And that would be a big win for them this holiday. There's even a possibility that we could see something like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 come over to Game Pass. I mean, whew, that would be a big thing for them. But let me know what you all think about all this. Can you see Microsoft completing this deal by the end of 2022? Let me know in the comments below. Let's go and talk about EVO, though, as some news came out from over there this weekend. Again, big congrats to all of the winners there. But like I said before, the fighting game community as a whole won in their own way here. Several games and updates were announced at EVO, so I'll try to do a quick summary, starting off with that Terry Bogard character from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Apparently, he's gotten so popular from Super Smash Bros. That he's now getting his own game after all. No, to be serious, though, they did confirm that a new Fatal Fury is indeed in development. No gameplay or anything like that just yet, but this is the first new Fatal Fury entry since 1999. I mean, some different Fatal Fury characters have appeared in other games, such as King of Fighters and of course Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but if you are a fan of the franchise, this is a great thing to see, and I'm all for it personally. I do love fighting games myself, and even though I've never really played the original Fatal Fury games, I'll be very curious to see how a modern entry turns out. Also, Bandai Namco seemingly teased a new Tekken game here. Now, we don't 100% know what's happening just yet, but they did put together a Tekken 7 update trailer, and right at the end, they briefly showed an updated model of Kazuya's face simply smiling and them quote-unquote saying, "Get ready." So this does seem to imply that they're prepping to fully unveil a new Tekken game with a graphical style similar to what we saw right at the end. This could maybe possibly be Tekken 8, but I've also seen some speculation that it could be a remake of the first game as well. Some fans have pointed out that Kazuya looks older here, but at the same time, with a big visual art style like you're seeing, that could explain why he looks different just entirely. Hopefully, though, we won't have to wait too long for more of an official confirmation on what exactly they're teasing here. That wasn't quite all, though, as several games are getting updates. I'll actually leave a link in the description below so you can see all of the different updates that they did announce here. But they did reveal some new characters for games like Street Fighter 6 and Guilty Gear Strive. But I'd say the most exciting thing that we're seeing right now, and this seems to be a nice little trend going forward, is that several games are adding rollback netcode, which basically means perceived latency will be reduced after these updates. So this is such a welcome update that will be heading over to Samurai Showdown, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, and then the big one, Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now actually, Dragon Ball FighterZ just seems to be getting an even more significant update, as they did announce a native Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 version alongside the rollback netcode. Of course, that will also be available on PC, but it appears that's not the case on Xbox One or PlayStation 4. If you have it on either the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4, it sounds like you will need to upgrade, which they do have an upgrade path for both consoles. They do note with the PlayStation 4 version, it will be compatible with the upgrade program, while the Xbox One version will be compatible with Smart Delivery. So we'll kind of see how all that works when this eventually will be implemented. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the Nintendo Switch is going to have any type of upgrade at all. So that's a little disappointing, but overall, it does appear that Dragon Ball FighterZ will continue to go strong into the new generation of consoles. So again, just very welcome news overall, and just fun times for the fighting game community. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though. We're asked you all, do you like the trend of the game industry leaning more into these movie license IP, such as Marvel, Star Wars, Harry Potter, etc., etc.? And as you can see here, 59% of you all said that you're indifferent and you don't mind some, but you still prefer non-licensed IP. Then 22% of you said no, they're making too many, and 15% of you said yes, you can't get enough. So based off the results here, it does seem like you all would just prefer the game industry stick with non-licensed IP, but you still like at least some. I mean, and I can definitely understand that. To be fair, there has been a few really good licensed IP in recent years, such as Spider-Man and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, as an example. But because of the success we saw with those games, especially Spider-Man, it's starting to seem like a lot of AAA studios are starting to fully commit to these licensed IP. I mean, it's like the dominoes just kind of fell, and now Disney are pushing super hard for various Marvel-related games, and we already have like 5+ Star Wars games in development. It could quickly become oversaturated if things continue down this path. However, as long as they turn out to be good games, then I guess that's what matters most here. We have seen the game industry really improve at translating these IP into games, and a lot of that comes down to just simply putting their own spin on these IP rather than just translating the movies into games. I will say for myself though, for the most part, I don't really tend to get super excited for a licensed IP. I mean, some of them are cool and everything. There are a select few, like Spider-Man. I would like to see Daredevil because Daredevil's just always really stuck out to me. And I do like Harry Potter, so I am hopeful that Hogwarts Legacy will turn out to be good. But outside of those three IP, I've never really gotten overly excited for these type of games. I'm just really not that big into the Marvel Universe as a whole, or Star Wars for that matter. But at the same time, I'm happy for you all out there that are. It's just not something that personally gets me all that pumped up, but hey, everybody's different, and I do understand that. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.